limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you conduct yourself in a professional, courteous manner and refrain from the use of profanity. Failure to abide by this policy may result in the loss of your privilege to speak. Do we have anybody here tonight that would like to speak on form? No? Okay. We'll move on to approval of minutes. Number 1, consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for June 7th, 2022. If there are no comments or questions, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve by member Luger. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Schilling. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Consent agenda, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do you have anybody wishing to pull an item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, we need a motion to approve consent agenda 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Onstad. Do we have a second by member Schilling?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Now on to acknowledgement receipts of reports of officer boards, commissions, and department heads. Number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 on the agenda. Do we have anybody that would like to pull a report? No? All right, we'll move on to new business, number 13, to consider resolution 22-06-57, a resolution approving final plat D-22-009, Summerfield's 3rd edition location, Kettle River Boulevard and 258th Street. Applicant Summerfield LLC, Jesse Moxness, property ID number 21.10582.80. Mr. What?
Madam Mayor and council members, this is the 3rd phase. It's the area between Kettle River Boulevard and I-35. It contains 36 detached townhomes and a public street and then a private street coming off of it. Planning Commission held the public meeting and are recommending approval with the 8 items listed as conditions in the resolution.
All right, so we'll go with questions. Member Luger, any questions?
No questions.
Member Onstad?
No questions.
Member Schilling?
No questions.
Member Yeager?
I was reading the planning commission minutes, and thank you for getting them. You were talking about that the street will continue because of a development further on, and talking about the difference between a pork chop and a hammerhead?
So the property to the south, at the end of that street, is not owned by the developer. That's owned by a private person, Janine, and she's usually at these meetings. At some point, that land will develop. So that's to allow that roadway to go through into that.
Okay.
So if you see on the drawings, there's a circular area at the end of the road that's to allow for a turnaround. That's the hammerhead or the pork chop that was being talked about, was how people will be able to back up on there. So
Is this like where I see an outlot B?
let me get to the drawing real quick, I'm sorry. It's gonna be the last drawing. So if you look at, it's gonna be on page 134 of the total.
Okay.
So at the end of Emerson Court, there's a kind of a fine circular outline at the very end,
Okay, I
kind
gotta
of
get to
between the 2
I
lots.
gotta get to 134. 3. Okay, so at 134 we got,
And at the south end of Emerson Court, where it touches, or it comes right up to that next line, so there's that large dashed line going around the property.
yeah, I see the large dash line going
Yes.
around, I see outlot B, I see
So,
the one street that
So-
Emerson Court,
Yep.
that's between the 2 of them?
right, so when it gets to the end, that southwest property line, there's a circular area there.
Oh, okay, I see that.
That's the turnaround, so that'll be a tarred area. They'll go over part of the sidewalk and the other area, so that snowplows and buses could turn around there.
Okay, oh, okay. Are you gonna be like taking away a little bit from the lots?
Initially, but once the road goes through, then that'll be
Okay,
removed.
and when is, do you have a timeline for the development of the southern parcel?
That would be up to
The owner.
the owner.
Okay, that's all I had.
All right, so we need a motion to approve resolution 22-06-57. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Luker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. All right, number 14, to consider resolution 22-06-58, a resolution authorizing the purchase of playground equipment and installation services from Minnesota Wisconsin Playground at Swenson Park in the amount of $44,413.10. Mr. Sachs, are you?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. At the April Park Advisory Commission meeting, it was discussed that Swenson Park had a second phase and that commission really wanted to prioritize finishing out that park. As you know, there's just an empty kind of space next to that new playground equipment. So the commission thought it was a priority to get that filled out, and the feedback we've been getting from residents was it's really lacking that equipment for older aged kids. So the commission kind of tasked staff with going to get some quotes to purchase equipment that is better suited for older age kids. So city staff contacted several vendors, and unfortunately we didn't receive a lot of responses. We heard back from 2 or 3, and then when they found out Minnesota, Wisconsin was going to be submitting a quote, then they were like, oh, they're going to be giving the cheapest. And so we found out that Minnesota, Wisconsin does have the state bid. So they're the ones that we met with. They actually went out to Swenson Park with us, took a look at the space, really kind of talked through kind of what age we're looking at, feedback that we've received from residents, and kind of the park commission's feedback. And they were kind of looking at like a climbing structure that they think older age kid would have fun on. So Minnesota Wisconsin Playground came back about a couple weeks later, and they provided this quote for a kind of ropes type structure priced at $31,988.10, and then that would include another installation quote of $12,425 for that total of the $44,413. And these funds would come from the Park Dedication Fund, which is, as a reminder, it's not levied dollars. These come from the developers that either give a land contribution or a cash contribution as developments come in. And as of today, the Park Dedication Fund has $100,000 in it, so sufficient to fund this playground. So as I mentioned, that equipment is called the Game Time Vista Star 3. It's a ropes adventure structure. In your packet, I've provided a sketch plan and several 3D images that kind of show what it looks like. It's a pretty unique design. And at the June 6th Park Advisory Commission meeting, this was presented, and that commission did make the recommendation to send this to council to approve the purchase of this equipment. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Sachs, a couple questions from me. I have seen something very similar to this in different cities, and I think it's great. I also like the fact they supplied a 3D image, really helps. The $12,425, is there any way that our Public Works can take on some of it, so it's not such a big amount of that $12,000? And maybe Mr. Umjel can answer that. I'm throwing that out there, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Mr. Umjel.
Okay.
Right, yes, Mayor. Well, I would say no, because you want to take any liability on the, when something did break,
Okay.
and got hurt. I'd rather just do it through the company.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a third party. And also, we don't have the staff that would take 2 or 3 days.
Sure.
There.
Okay, and, Mr. Sachs, when they are doing installation and stuff, is there any type of, landscaping that they have to do or finish up on or rearrange, anything like that?
So-
And would that fall on us or on them?
Yep, so there's a first part, maybe Mr. Umjel can explain, but there is a little part that our Public Works
Yes,
will do
we
first.
are involved.
Okay,
Yep.
So we're removing the chips with the Vector truck, folding the fabric back, then they come in and pour the footings of concrete, and then when they're all done, we just fold our fabric back down and replace the chips.
okay. All right, that's all my questions I have. Member Yeager.
What do you consider an older kid?
So this equipment was aged 5 to 12. There was one more category for, I think, 12 to 18. These are national park and rec standards that Minnesota Wisconsin Playground presented. And unfortunately, that space cannot accommodate the type of equipment for 12 to 18-year-olds. Because then you're talking like a ninja course, multiple structures, and that space it's in the sketch
Too
plan.
small.
Yeah, it's too small
That's
to
all right.
accommodate that. So this was kind of that top end, 12-year-old, and maybe, kids older than 12 would enjoy it too. They can definitely certainly use it, but it meets that standard criteria for 5 to 12-year-olds.
So what kind of maintenance does this take? I mean, what happens when a rope breaks?
I can give you. So the ropes are virtually maintenance-free. There's an actual picture of one. They're a rope, and then there's 6 strands of steel rope around that.
Is
And
it
then
like fiber rope or
It is a weave tech rope, it says.
composite?
Small poly.
Poly something, it's a composite.
Polymite core surrounded by 6 steel force ropes. The cable is encased in a comfort grip synthetic polymer that is softer and more durable than nylon. So if somebody's gonna cut it, they're gonna have to bring some tools.
Oh, okay, but now I'm thinking of a really big kid going on it and bouncing.
No, it's rated to take that kind of, yeah. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's why I said, and you guys could just fix it up.
No, it's actually maintenance free, there's no moving parts.
Oh, it's maintenance free, but like I said, if a rope breaks, you guys can reattach the rope, or you can get a new rope.
Like I said, I don't think that, well, if the rope broke, yes, we'd have to replace it.
Okay. Just curious.
Okay, Member Schilling?
I don't really have any questions. I think it's a great idea. I think it's nice that it comes out of the park dedication fund. So again, it's not a levy dollar. So it'll utilize the space and it'll cover that gap in that older age range. So I'm all for it.
Okay, Member Armstead?
If one of the ropes needs to be replaced, would the company still do that, or would we do that?
Is there a warranty, basically?
Oh,
Yeah.
warranty? I was reading their warranty, and I believe it's 5 years on they call it the net.
Yep, that's correct.
Is it something that we could replace 6 years down the road?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
not so, what's the word I'm looking for?
Specific.
That we couldn't fix it.
No, there's nothing.
Because I remember there's a plank board over at Lions Park that apparently we couldn't replace
Well, I
the,
couldn't guarantee that they had, in 25 years, they
No.
don't have it in stock.
All right, and,
That's how old the other equipment's at, 25.
is that good?
Yeah.
Member Luker?
I have a few questions. I attended the Park Advisory Commission meeting where this was discussed, and I know there were a few questions that commission members had brought up, and a couple concerns as well. And so I guess to start with, I'm wondering from city staff, what feedback have we received as a city about Swenson Park's amenities?
Yeah, I can take some of that, and I know Mr. Linwood's received some, and so has Mr. Olmchild. But first, we can start with the positives. I mean, with the grant money, I mean, the hockey rink, the new playground equipment's definitely been positive, but I will say the complaints have been, my 8-year-old kid doesn't want to play on that playground equipment, and there's not a lot there, and they want to see more. So I think that's kind of the biggest issue we've been hearing. I think this meets that need.
Okay, and I've seen that too, just across social media, not just with the outreach that the city has been seeking and the feedback, like on the social pinpoint stuff, but as well, Facebook commentary and things like that. There is a pretty significant freight fee. Mr. Almgeld, can you tell us, is this a fairly common occurrence now at this point?
Yes, that particular equipment's coming from Korea, and then he had emailed us back, because we asked him, I was so, and I believe his comment was, it was coming from Korea, and the fuel surcharges are where that's coming from.
Okay. How long is this, what's the anticipated lifespan for the equipment?
20 years.
20 years. Okay. And then finally, and then I'll stop. When, assuming that we approve this tonight, when does it get installed? And if we were to wait, how long would that quote be good for?
I can take that, Mr. Almchild. So the vendor said that if this gets into them signed contract by July 4th, it will be installed before the end of the year. If it's after July 4th, they can't make any promises, and it'll most likely be in the spring. And I believe this quote from them is good for 90 days.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Okay, that's all the questions. All right. so we need a motion to approve resolution 22-06-58, a resolution authorizing the purchase of playground equipment and installation services from Minnesota, Wisconsin Playground at Swenson Park in the amount of $44,413.10. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Onstead. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Schilling. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Before we continue on 15, yeah, go ahead. Yep. Yep, that's what I got on there, so. Okay, so earlier we, in our budget session, we talked that the, Wednesday, July 27th was not gonna work for, council. So we talked about July 28th, and so I'd like to make a motion to amend or add to the agenda the adoption of Thursday, July 28th for our next budget meeting. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Yep.
Correct.
6 years later. All right. Do we have a?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion by member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Luger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Is this still 6 o'clock?
5:30. We have at 5:30, or do you want?
I believe
6?
it's at 6
Six
Oh,
is
sorry,
what I
6.
had on there, yeah.
6 still work for everybody?
6 is better.
So let's amend the amendment, so at 6 o'clock. Right? All right.
No,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Are we good? Did that work?
Works.
You're looking at me like you're not sure.
You got the procedures.
Yeah,
yeah,
You
we're
good.
did both,
Yeah.
you did both votes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Perfect.
yes.
Okay. All right. And then before we go into closed door session, I'll read number 15. What I would like to do is do our reports before we go into closed door session. So I'm just gonna read 15 first, and then actually we'll do reports first, and then I'll read that. So reports from council, we'll start with member Yeager.
No report. Thank you all for coming and all for watching.
Member Schilling,
No report. Thank everybody for coming and watching.
member Onstead,
I attended the planning commission meeting on June 14th and the work session just prior to this meeting.
Oh, I forgot that.
okay, and member Luger.
I also attended the work session and can verify that so did everybody else on council, even if we missed that. Thank you all for watching and for attending.
Okay, I think I have the right weeks, but I could be wrong. I attended the EDA meeting, I attended the planning commission meeting, the work session meeting. I did also attend the MS 150 that came on through Wyoming in the pouring rain. I know you're all excited to see my Facebook Live posts.
I watched it.
Always. So, very exciting to have them back through again. The comments that were made were, they felt that the trail is far better than it was 2-3 years ago. They're very happy with that. They say that we are the only city that is as welcoming in terms of somebody on the trails welcoming them in, and they say how much that means. So I hope next year we'll have even more people out. And then I also took a trip to Washington D.C. I had a great meeting with Congressman Stauber and conversation regarding Highway 8 onto that as well. So that is my report. I'll read number 15. Oh, I should talk about the torch run. The Olympic, Special Olympics torch run, put that on your calendars, is Friday, but at what time? Is it like 8?
9 a.m.
At 9 a.m. And if people wanted to watch Chief Bauer, would it be just right here at the Railroad Park, or what would be the best thing to do?
Yep, that'd be a great spot. It's on the trail as well. We'll be on the trail, not on the roadways.
Okay, and who's running with the torch from Wyoming?
I'm gonna try. And then we have several members from the police department. Mr. Sachs is going to join us as well.
Okay, perfect. I don't think I can be there. Somebody's got to do Facebook Live. 'Cause
I may try to be there. We'll see if I can get back in time.
Yeah.
So, council, it's up to you guys to Facebook it. So, all right. Number 15, to enter a closed session under Minnesota State Statute 13D.03 to discuss labor negotiation strategies for a contract with the bargaining units of IUOE Local 49ers. So with that, we will adjourn for 5 minutes to go into closed session.
Sorry, maybe you need to entertain a vote.
Oh, all right, who wants to?
You can do that vote when you come out of the jury.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right.